Television's Dr. Phil recently sat down with former president and convicted felon Donald Trump and essentially slobbered over him for like 20 minutes. At one point, he even said that only stupid people would believe that Joe Biden wasn't behind the recent conviction. Ah, yes. No, only stupid people. You have any evidence of that? Nope, not at all. He then went on CNN's NewsNight with Phillip to discuss the interview, and boy, it did not go well for him.
I'm sympathetic to what Trump has gone through in this particular trial because I think it was not a proper due process for him. I would say the same thing if it was Biden or anyone else in that process.
First off, you can see Phillip not buying it, okay? I'm not buying it either. Especially the part about, I'd say the same thing about Joe Biden or anybody else. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. I don't believe it. I think you're a liar. Look, here's the thing. Trump was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records in order to manipulate the outcome of his campaign for president. He paid to hide an affair that he believed might have hurt his campaign. It's not the fact that the affair happened or that he even wanted to, didn't want people to find out. That's not the issue. The issue is the cover-up, what he did to cover it up. Since this was money used for a political purpose, it was considered a campaign contribution. And since it was used again to interfere in an election, it is election interference. That's the whole point. Trump knew that, decided that he wanted to falsify the payments in order to make it look like this was just normal, run-of-the-mill legal fees. They weren't. If Joe Biden did the same thing, I'd actually want the jury to find him guilty as well. Yes, because at the end of the day, what you're doing is withholding important information from voters that may or may not sway their votes. The voters, I think, have a right to be informed so they can make informed choices. Now, getting back to Dr. Phil.
I think you don't have someone that is considered to be an accomplice in a crime that has pled out or made a non-prosecution agreement and allow that information into the jury's awareness because it's very prejudicial and is not really probative of anything that they're asked to be problem solving or consider.
Who are you referring to there?
Michael Cohen.
I mean, well,
yes.
Dr. Phil, I don't want to get too deep into the law here, but it is not uncommon at all for people who are accomplices to crimes, people who have taken plea deals, non-prosecute. That is not uncommon at all for those people to then testify in subsequent trials for their alleged co-conspirators. That's kind of how a lot of these prosecutions work.
Phillip is 100%. She is correct. That is kind of how a lot of these work, okay? Now, to be fair, Dr. Phil is not a lawyer. He's not even a licensed psychologist, okay? Now, that said, we call him Dr. Phil because he holds a doctorate in clinical psychology, but he hasn't practiced since 2006, okay? What basically he is he is a jerk-off that had a crappy daytime TV show where he pretended to help people. No. So, anyway, the reason I bring up his qualifications or lack thereof is this guy is claiming that he knows more about the law than legal experts or people who have actually taken the time to study how these things work and what this case was actually built on. When you actually look at the facts, as the jury was able to do, the jury was able to look at the facts, even without the testimony of Michael Cohen, they still had all the evidence. They still had documentation showing that there were hush money payments made, as well as a deal with AMI, David Pecker, Trump, and Cohen in order to facilitate these payments through Rochelle Company and then write them off as legal expenses. So all the evidence was there. Cohen just basically confirmed all of this stuff during his testimony. So that said, Phillip is going to further correct Dr. Phil, and it gets even better.
Prosecutors are prosecuting organized crime all the time, and in a lot of those cases, they are relying on co-conspirators to put people who are at the higher levels of the organization behind bars. I don't understand how you can say that because someone signed was not prosecuted, signed a non-prosecution agreement, that information or their testimony cannot be presented before the jury if they were a part of the alleged scheme.
Well, you'll have to give me an example to respond to, because I just simply don't agree with that. I think it's not typical for juries to do this. I've spent most of my career.
It happens in mob cases all the time. Dr. Phil, I mean, I don't understand why you would think that Michael Cohen, who is a key person in a lot of the narrative here, should not have been allowed to testify in this case. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I said what I said. I think the fact that he made an agreement to say that he is guilty of the crime that the defendant is being tried for prejudices the jury that, hey, here's someone that's supposedly an accomplice that has said, I'm guilty of this. That prejudices a jury about the person that's currently on trial for the same crime.
I have some quibbles with what you're describing as the same crime. Michael Cohen was not charged with falsifying business records. That he actually did not was not prosecuted for that crime. But I do want to move on.
But I do want to move on because I just pretty much wiped the floor with your entire argument. Hey, look, Dr. Phil was left with, well, I don't agree with it. No, I don't like it. Well, sad day for you. Dr. Phil doesn't agree. And look, Cohen was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison for the crimes of tax evasion, perjury, and campaign finance law violations. That's not the same crime that Trump was charged with. Trump was charged with falsifying business records in order to do election interference. Okay? If you don't know what you're talking about, why are you going on TV and pretending to know what you're talking about? Oh, right, that's what Dr. Phil has done most of his career, or at least what he's doing now. All right? Look, the fact that he can go on television and have no idea what Cohen even did, and then, still trying to claim that you shouldn't have been allowed to testify because you're really influencing the jury in an unfair way. No, it's just sad. Dr. Phil he's not an objective person here. I think he's someone who, yes, absolutely wanted Donald Trump to get away with it. I don't know why. Maybe it's an enlightened self-interest. Maybe he's incredibly pro-Trump because he likes tax cuts. I don't know. Either way, Dr. Phil's opinions on this, since he is not a legal expert, well, should, since they're not factual, they should absolutely be ignored. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.